Hi everyone, Angela here. First, put on the jeans that need to be shortened. Fold in the hem and pull it down to the length that you'd like. The back length is most important, but check the side and the front and make sure you're happy with it. Then pin the hem in place. Chalk right on that fold and remove the pins. Fold the jeans in half with the backs together. Smooth out the legs, making sure that the sides are even at the top of the waist. Even though these jeans are brand new, you can see that the legs aren't perfectly even, nor are they perfectly straight. This is why I never measure up from the bottom of the hems. Where we have the mark for the finished length, I'm just going to transfer it to the front of this leg. Take the hem and fold it along that inner edge and measure the width. This hem measures 3/4 of an inch. Measure up from the original mark the width of the hem and make another mark. On this top mark, draw a level line right across the leg. Move your ruler just a tiny bit to the left of the line, hold it securely in place, and lift up the top leg. Pressing down hard with the chalk, mark against the edge. You should have lines on both layers. Again, place the ruler just to the left of the line, lift up the bottom leg, hold it securely, and mark against the edge. You now have the seam line on all 4 sides. Hold up the bottom and bend the top edge of the hem, lining it up with the seam line. Flatten it out and then place a pin right beside that top edge. Make sure to pin through both layers. Fold up the rest of the bottom and be sure to match up each of the side seams together before pinning it in place. Pin all around the seam line and then repeat on the other leg. If you're finding this video helpful, make sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on all notifications, and leave a comment below. I'm using a Brother NV50S sewing machine. The link for this and the tools I use can be found down in the description. Make sure to use coupon code NOTCHES NV50S for the special offer. Remove the flatbed attachment for free arm sewing. The side of the jeans with the flat felt seam is a lot heavier and thicker, so I prefer to start and stop my stitching on the flatter open seam. Place onto the free arm and remove the pin at the seam. We'll be stitching right beside this edge of the hem. You'll notice that the presser foot is sitting on an angle on the hem. To fix this, I fold a thin piece of cardboard and place it underneath the other side of the foot to level it out. You can also just use a one-sided zipper foot. Stitch all around right beside that folded edge, back tacking at the start and finish. When you get to the thick and bulky flat felt seam, you might find it a little bit difficult to stitch over. Fold the back of the cardboard so it's a bit thicker to raise the back of the presser foot. With the presser foot lifted and level, you should be able to sew over that seam quite easily. Once done, flatten out the cardboard again and continue stitching. If your excess denim fabric only measures about an inch or less, you can just leave it. But if it's like this or wider, we need to trim it down. Trim it down so that it's about 1/2 inch to 1 inch wide. This next step is optional. We'll grade down the sides with the flat felt seams. It's a bit thick to serge or zigzag over. Trim down the seam that's underneath the hem and repeat for the other leg. Sew a wide zigzag all around, catching the raw edges. Of course, you can use your serger or overlocker. When you get to the end, back tack and then pull out a nice long thread before you cut it. Fold the hems up towards the jeans and press the seams nice and flat on both legs. Trim the threads, leaving one long one, and thread a small needle with it. Start by sewing several whip stitches at the side seam. So that your toes don't catch the seam allowance of the hem, we'll also blind stitch it. Catch just 1 or 2 threads of the denim above the edge and then go through the seam allowance. Sew the stitches about 1/4 inch in length and don't pull too tight. We don't want these stitches showing on the right side. Now you could skip the blind hemming and just whip stitch the side seams, but really it's only going to take a few minutes and it's really worth it. Whip stitch the other side seam, and when you get to the end, make a knot and pull the end through the seam allowance to hide it. Now there are other methods of sewing an original jean hem, but other than using an industrial machine and a serger, this is the method I've used for the past 40 years. Make sure to check out some of my other tutorials and projects. Thanks again for watching. Take care and happy sewing.